So this was a case number 2010-0069, Danielle Allums versus Cedric Allums, transcripts of the proceeding between the parties held in the above captioned matter on Tuesday, June 17, 2014, before the Honorable Claire Jupiter, Judge presiding. Basically, it says that we are appearing, this official court reporter, Anna Murillo. The question is asked, has he been violent to you? She says, yes. He's put his hands on you? Oh, yes. When was that? The day his sister, the day his sister died. And that was in 2008, the judge asked. So she details, she says, me and my dumb self took it back. They arrested me for that arrest for filing a false charge. So that he has that over my head, constantly brings that up. That's also an email, but he knows the truth, what happened to that. And the reason why he was arrested, because I had a mark in my face. Because the police officer asked him, where did she get that mark in her face? And he said, I don't know. So they took him because I had a mark on me. She didn't say that I put that mark on her. So basically, the judge states, let me tell you, because I hear an incident of violence in 2008, then apparently no violence since then, she basically states there was no violence, no threat of violence. And she, really misheard what she was saying happened in 2008. So this is the judge states, it does not seem to me a situation. Well, it seems to me that a civil injunction is sufficient, and I won't impose the kind of protective order that goes to the Louisiana protective order. This is what the judge says. So notably, at one point, I noticed the judge was jumping to conclusions or making premature judgments. And so I said, I might have to ask you to recuse yourself from this situation because you seemed biased. And she says, no, sir, I won't. And I said, you seem biased. She said, yes, okay. Well, I regret that because I don't want to be biased. But to me, that's an admission she's being biased. Then she goes on further to say, so there are courts that are above me that tell me that I did wrong if. And she says, please file your appeal, okay, in a defiance, act of defiance. So knowing the Judicial Code of Conduct, basically, she's not supposed to escalate court costs. And I charge her with conspiracy to undermine the male authority. And I go on to clarify, and you're cooperating in this conspiracy manner. Yes, you are biased. I have evidence to prove otherwise. I have documentation where she lied. So after several rude interruptions, I explained to her, you didn't even let me answer the question, ma'am, demonstrating her lack of patience, which is also one of the codes of conduct that in the Judicial Code of Conduct she was to abide by. So I note that she said we were divorced in April 2010. We didn't get divorced until March 2011. So that shows that she lied on official documentation, paperwork. So then she goes on to say, Miss Williams, Mr. Allums. Miss Williams filed a rule for a protective order against Mr. Allums, and I have granted that, and I've assessed costs. It's going to be for 18 months, and I've assessed costs against Mr. Allums. Basically, she found no threat of violence. Furthermore, she says, in the Court of Appeal will certainly overturn my judgment if it was wrong, more or less kind of in defiance. So revisiting April 28th, when she said there was a issue of violence, I explained to her I went to jail actually voluntarily because I was highly upset because she betrayed me in my time of need when my sister had passed away. I thought it was really low for her when I really needed a friend. And she stated that the police saw a mark on her face that I didn't do. So then she clarifies the guidelines for issuing a restraining order. What I'm looking for is an incident where Miss Williams has taken some actions that puts you in a reasonable fear of being victim of domestic violence. That's the criteria for issuing a protective order. So later on, I try to reason with the judge and says it's basically for the matter that, hey, I want to work this out. I don't want all these extra problems and distractions because I have enough going on. So we get to the point where I saw the kids. Okay. And then she asked you to meet her under the bridge. Was the meeting? What was the meeting? Did she ever ask you to meet her under the bridge? So I go on to explain, well, she brought my kids to meet me under the Seabrook Bridge. It was like a day after I got here, which she asked me to meet her at her mom's address. So then she asked me for a specific date and time. So I explained to her, May 19th at 6:54 a.m. we spoke. Then at 4:11 p.m. we spoke. And that's whenever she brought the kids out to me, May 19th. We had spoken about me seeing my kids. Okay, and at 4:11 is when y'all made the arrangement to meet under the bridge, the judge clarifies.